Echo, Part 13. Across the Years. The smell entombs me, and I know without looking that I'm surrounded by death. I lay there on the floor, not moving, listening to Brian as he tries to squeeze through the opening. I can remember years ago when I was maybe 12, walking along the dirt road back home after hanging out with Carl. On the side of the road I saw some roadkill, and just as I passed by I could see the white maggots writhing through the fur. The smell for that single moment was almost unbearable, and I gagged and ran past. And while the odour in here is a bit more faint, it's almost exactly the same. I hear Brian finally shift free from the exit, and he shines the light back down on me. I know I should run. I know I need to get the fuck out of here. I know I should be fighting like hell. Because I know what's coming. Is this what it's like for people who get kidnapped or murdered? People wonder why they didn't fight harder or run when they had the chance. I should have ran the second we stopped in the truck. But right now it's like I'm stuck in ice. My frantic thoughts are interrupted as Brian grasps me by the back of the shirt and pulls me back up to my feet. I'm not able to stand and just sort of crumple down next to him. The bear grunts and just drags me along into the little opening that we're in, dropping me against the wall. As Brian fumbles with the flashlight, I get a glimpse of my surroundings. It's small, maybe about 15 feet long and 10 feet wide. Well, it's narrow enough that Brian takes up most of the space, and I'd be hard-pressed to get past him. I draw my knees up to my chest and hug them, feeling numb. God, you're such a useless piece of shit. I watch Brian lean over something against the wall. It looks like two long, polished pieces of wood. Brian tips the flashlight down, and I see that those pieces of wood are attached to a shovel and a pickaxe. Brian grabs the pickaxe, and for a heart-stopping moment, I think he's going to turn to me. But instead reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small and rectangular. It's not until he opens it and shines his flashlight on it that I see it's some kind of small notebook. The bear looks at the notebook, then back up at the little cave we're in. The silence is almost unbearable, and I feel the need to say something, if only to fill that silence. What are you doing? You know exactly what he's doing. Brian ignores me as he continues to search for something. I whimper softly in the back of my throat. But please. About to be murdered and you just beg like a little bitch. Shut up! I can't help it as I hiss through my teeth at that goddamn voice. I don't need to hear it, especially now. Brian stiffens and turns around. What? I shake my head, squinting and unable to see his face as the bear turns the light on me. Nothing, I just... No, you were talking to something. Did you see someone? I don't know. I shut my eyes against the light and only see blood red. Brian chuckles and my vision goes back to black as he takes the light off me. I was the same way as you. Let me tell you something though. Ignoring it ain't gonna make it go away. Brian finally stops scanning the ground and crouches down. It takes me a moment to realise what he's looking at until he reaches down and picks it up. A smooth stone. Brian looks at it for a moment, thinking. Then he drops it off to the side and looks back down at his book. Daniel, 19, ferret. He was the smallest, I think. Should be enough room. Brian shines a light back down at the ground for a moment, then seems to make up his mind and he sets the butt of the flashlight on the ground. It brightly lights up the ceiling, leaving us in a dim yellow glow. Brian eyes me for a moment, positioning himself so he can watch me while also doing his work. Crouching over, Brian starts breaking through the hard surface of the dirt with the pickaxe, grunting with each stroke. He can only do little short swings, the ceiling too low for Brian to even stand up straight. At this point, the smell of Brian has almost overwhelmed the stench of death. I guess it's one of the few things I don't mind his smell covering up. Why aren't you at least trying to escape? Because he's in the way. Because you're a coward. Why the fuck are you talking to me now? I thought you left. I never left. You know that. You felt me even after you left the town. I shouldn't have come back. Probably not. I'm going insane. Brings back memories of my old life. I'm going insane and it's bringing back all my old demons. No, I think it's because you're in the mine. I think you figured out it's the source of everything, haven't you? The voice I've been trying to ignore all week has changed. It's not vague or insidious anymore. It's more natural, like a real person. Or like what I used to hear when I was a kid. Well, I was a real person. Sometimes I even doubt I am that person. It chuckles and I feel the back of my brain itch. More like a... what do you call it? A simulation? It waits for an answer, but I don't want to talk to it. Oh, stop pretending I'm not here. You can feel me. You felt me looking over your shoulder since you got here. I let my head thump against my knees, closing my eyes. Well, really ever since Sydney. Just ignore it. But I can understand. Even I feel as though something is controlling me. It's the oddest thing. Hey! I snap my head up, jumping as I find the bear staring right at me. The hell are you mumbling? Nothing. Brian chuckles again and reaches across the other wall, grabbing the shovel. He starts digging up the loose patch of dirt in front of him. Yeah, keep it to yourself, I guess. But like I said, you ain't the only one. Ryan gestures behind him with a thumb toward the ground. I look and see nothing except a few stones on the ground. After Rachel back there, things got way worse than aliens for me. I saw her at night, crawling on my ceiling, peeking out from under my bed, staring at me from my window. Ryan grunts as he digs the shovel deep, then lifts, turning a pile of dirt out to the side. So did Duke. Drove him crazy, turned him into a speed addict. Not that I mind, he's always my most reliable customer. The sick, sweet smell starts to grow again, and it's starting to become overpowering. I feel like I should keep him talking, get him comfortable and buy myself more time. Should you though? Who's Rachel? Duke's wife. I try to remember what I know about Duke's marriage, aside from the fact that he isn't married anymore. I realise then that I do remember Rachel, but just barely. She's only around when I was in grade school and was pretty nice as far as I can remember. Didn't he divorce her? Ryan shrugs as he stops digging, resting on the handle. I guess he sorta did. I mean, she was dead by then. They wanted my stuff, but didn't have the money, so I cut him a deal to fuck for the drugs instead. I mean, I can't say I like bitches at all, annoying and whiny, but she let me go way farther than Duke ever did, so I mainly fucked around with her. It's not hard for me to picture exactly what that fucking was. Then one day I guess I went too far. She died and we buried her right there. Ryan points more specifically at a rock sitting against the other side of the wall. The big bear starts to dig again more vigorously, lengthening the patch he's working on. I didn't see her until right after I buried her. Maybe a week later. The bear shakes his head and laughs mockingly. You'd think that'd stop me from doing it again. But you know,
when that last breath came out of her and she sort of shut it on the table.
Ryan glances up at me.
Blew my load without even touching it. Made me wonder how good it could be with a guy if it was that good with a bitch. You want him to keep talking?
Ryan pauses in his sudden spurt of digging and looks up at me again.
Probably wondering why I'm telling you this, thinking I'm crazy. I don't know. Feels good to tell someone. You're like my own therapy otter.
The bear looks down at the hole he made. The smell coming out of it is so overpowering I'm on the verge of gagging again.
I don't see her anymore, though. It changes with each one. 7 stones. And it'll probably change again.
And with that, the bear comes at me. The space is so small it only takes him 2 steps. I scream and cover my face.
Coward.
And try to fold up into a tighter ball as I can. Before I know it, Brian has me by the back of the shirt. He drags me over until I'm kneeling next to the hole. I can see it's definitely a grave now.
You already knew.
Because I can see the bones poking through the dirt. The bits of blue and white cloth that were its clothes.
You mean Daniel, the 19-year-old ferret? I feel like me telling all this to you, and me being nice to you so far. Maybe don't come back after me, just move on.
I feel Brian move around behind me, then press something cold into the back of my head. A gun. I guess Brian probably has plenty of those.
I'm doing the town some good after all.
How? I blurt out, my mind racing, trying to think of something, anything to get out of this. Ryan does pause though.
How what?
How is this helping anyone? Why are you doing this? A few seconds go by. I'm sure I'm about to hear the crack of the pistol. The last thing I'll ever hear. Then Brian sighs.
Again, I feel like I should tell you everything, so you know, so you don't have to come back and fuck with me. But Duke, he said this all started when you came back.
I told you I have no idea why. My voice rises in pitch as I start to panic. Duke had already tried to kill me even after we tried to convince him I had nothing to do with any of this.
Not any of this? Are you sure of that?
I feel Brian set his feet behind me, and I can picture him getting ready to pull the trigger. I'm going to die.
This keeps happening, doesn't it? This hysteria. I'm sorry. Remember, this is for the good of the town. To me, it's like the town holds its breath, letting all the evil build up until it has to let it all out in one big go.
Brian grips into my head for pressing the barrel of the gun into the back of my head.
And you brought a lot of guilt and evil with you back to this town. Maybe that was enough to push it over the edge again. Rest easy. So in a way, it is your fault, isn't it?
My eyes are watering. I don't know if it's from Brian's gripping my fur or I'm crying. Help me. I say it to you. I glance to my right and see something standing in the entrance to our little hollow. It's faint, either because of the dim lighting or because the thing itself isn't quite opaque. It's tall, white and gangly, and its long fingers nearly touch the ground. Its face is heart-shaped, the whiteness of it interrupted by massive, shiny black eyes in its face. It stands there motionless, watching us. I stare back open-mouthed. Brian must have taken notice, because the next thing I know the bear squeals. It's so loud and high-pitched I wince. Brian lets me go just as the thing moves. It seems to lean forward and glide toward us. The gliding is stilted, like a film with half seconds missing from it. It flickers, seeming to turn transparent as it grows closer, the white fading to pink, then a bright red for a brief second before reverting. I'm frozen, kneeling as I watch. Brian backs away and promptly steps on the flashlight. The lighting careens sideways and I look over to see Brian's foot slip on the cylindrical flashlight before his rump comes down hard on top of it. All light is extinguished and I can't see the thing or Brian now. I hear him though, as he lets out another screech of pure fear like a wounded animal. I hear something else too. A voice that's also high-pitched, babbling something fast and senseless. It's like a tape recorder being rewound. Brian's screeching impossibly turns up a notch, and I instinctively move forward, away from the horrible sounds, and I pitch forward into the hole. The smell engulfs me, and I can feel the hard, knobbly things and the dirt around me. Where are we going?
Just taking a back road.
But we live in the city.
Yeah, well, I live outside the city.
You didn't tell me that. Let's just go back to the club. Alright, pull the fuck over, let me out. I said pull over. Where the fuck is the lock?
You best not be doing that.
Hey, get off me! I gasp and scramble out of the grave, gagging uncontrollably. Once I'm out, I curl up on my side, drawing in my knees again. The horrible screeching and bizarre babbling language continue, though the sounds from Brian are more ragged now. Occasionally the room flashes with light as Brian shifts around, but I face the wall, not wanting to look.
Get up!
I curl up tighter, just waiting, hoping that I wake up.
You snivelling little shit, get up!
I press my face into the dirt.
Trust me, there's far worse out there, and it's coming for you unless you get up and get out.
I've given up. You force yourself up onto your hands and knees and start crawling in the direction of the exit. The flashlight continues to be rolled around, giving you glimpses of where you're going. The sounds from Brian have stopped. Now it's just the mechanical gibberish that seems to be growing in pitch and speed. But you don't look back. You don't need to see that. The otter is already broken enough. Soon you're crawling through the exit and the cacophony behind you is immediately muted. It becomes more and more faint and it almost disappears as you come out the other side. Once you're free, you stand up in the comparatively fresh, cool air. The main tunnel. You remember this place. You also know the tunnel's like the back of your hand. It's pitch black, but if you feel along the walls, you should be able to find your way out. You head to the right, down toward the end of the main tunnel with your right hand dragging along the wall. Then, when you feel an opening with your hand, you take a left, then another right. And finally a final right that takes you out the back exit. Nick had drilled the directions into your head far too many times for you to... Red eyes appear at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the last stretch. You freeze and observe. Things in the mines can hurt you far worse than things outside. Brian had just experienced that. But you're not sure. Is this one of the Otter's demons, or... No. No, it's something else. Something you're not quite seeing correctly. A friend, the lizard. He's warped. Chase! I slump to my knees, shaking uncontrollably as Flynn shines a light down on me. Fuck, Chase, come on, let's go! Flynn yanks me to my feet, and the next thing I know I'm stumbling after him. Out of the mine, out of what I'm now completely convinced is hell. I sit in the passenger seat of Flynn's truck, feeling numb. I choose to stare out the window, watching the desert rush by as Flynn tries to ask me questions. Where's the bear? I shake my head. Is he still in the mine? I think so. What happened? I don't know. It feels strange being back out here. While everything is definitely fucked up and strange out here in Echo, at least it makes some sense. Mine is completely different. It's chaos. That's the word. Chaos. What? How did you find me? I look back at Flynn. I see that he's staring at me closely, barely keeping an eye on the road. I went to Leo's house, found all of you guys there, except you, of course. Just waiting? I don't know how to feel about the idea of all my friends just sitting around while a serial killer had kidnapped me. Of course, none of us really knew Brian was a serial killer. Well, a lot was going on. Kudzu, that raccoon, is the one that told me you were missing. Leo, on the other hand, said you were fine. He saw you around the house. What? Flynn shrugs. I have no fucking clue, but he's practically holding everyone hostage. Wouldn't give the keys up, so I had to take my own truck out here. Is everyone okay? Hopefully. Jenna said she'd try and keep him calm when I came and looked for you. How did you know I was in the mine? Well, Kudzu pointed out the direction you went. I drove up the canyon since that's basically the only place he could go. I saw where he'd parked and I knew he'd taken you in there. But how did you know about that back entrance? Flynn smirks as we come out of the curvy Echo Canyon onto a straight road to Echo. Does it really matter? Either way, I know a lot about the town. I watch Flynn for a while until he finally glances back at me. What? Where the hell have you been the past few days? Oh, in the town hall, managing stuff. Stuff? Like, everything going on? I tried to find you guys at the hotel, at Carl's house, but I didn't see anyone. Assumed you'd try to leave. That answer is far from satisfactory, but I have no energy to dig deeper. So, are we going back? Yep. Then what? Well, they were saying something about a train, so I assume we try to get out that way. Something you already found that you can't drive out. Yeah. We turn onto the road to Leo's house, and as I watch the house draw close, I can't help the growing sense of dread in the pit of my stomach. As soon as we step through the doorway, I'm engulfed in a combination of beige, grey, black and white fur, as I'm surrounded by my friends. Jenna, Carl and Kudzu are all talking at once, asking me how I am, what happened, if I'm okay. Flynn puts up his hands. Guys, let him breathe. I don't think he's up for talking too much. Jenna and Carl step back, but Kudzu doesn't. He's got a hand on my shoulder, gripping it like he doesn't think I'm real. Hey, I'm sorry. I should be more careful. I should let you piss on my fucking carpet instead, or something. It takes me a second to realise what he's talking about, the thing that got me into Brian's trap in the first place. It makes me laugh a bit at how earnest Kudzu looks compared to what just came out of his mouth. I also realise I want to hug him really, really badly, so I do. I feel the raccoon stiffen up for a moment, then hug back. It feels so fucking good to be in the arms of someone I trust, and it seems to break through the numbness that I'm feeling, at least a little bit. Carl seems to take that as an invitation to hug as well, and Jenna joins in. I don't mind, and I wish I could stay like this forever. Actually, I just wish this all hadn't happened in the first place. It comes to an end eventually, and Kudzu is the last to draw back. About to ask where TJ is when I see Leo. The wolf stands at the entrance to the hallway, his eyes on me and Kudzu. He's got a pillow in one paw, his shirt is hitched up over his stomach a bit like he just pulled it on. What are you doing? The room goes quiet and the mood immediately changes. Carl, Jen and Kudzu all look weary. No one says anything. I clear my throat. I'm back. Brian took me to... Leo frowns. Back? No, you're in my room and asked for a pillow. We were... Leo's glare turns on Kudzu. Have they been telling you to say this? Leo, no. Look in my former boyfriend's eyes is completely alien to me. I've never seen that look from him before. I guess I knew that the town, or whatever all this is, had gotten to him, but not completely taken him. Now, I'm not so sure. Kudzu stands next to me, his shoulder in front of mine. Leo eyes him again before turning back to me. Jace, come here. I don't move. The room is completely silent. Jace, I said come here. Leo, what the hell? Leo ignores Flynn, his steely eyes on mine. The feeling of coming to a safe place is completely gone now. Echo has seeped into every part of my life, it seems. But I don't move, and neither does Kudzu. Leo doesn't seem to know what to do. His face transforms from anger to confusion.
Chula, you were just in the bedroom with me, telling me...
Leo trails off. I was in the mine, Leo, with Brian. Leo stares. The silence drags on until a soft clicking comes from the kitchen. Everyone looks as TJ emerges, staring at us all with sad, lost eyes.
TJ, what is it? There's another train coming. Oh, good. Thank you for watching, TJ.
I'm not sure if Jenna is relieved because our ride out is coming, or it's because it can distract from Leo. We all move at once, squeezing past Leo out to the backyard. He watches me pass him, dumbfounded. TJ's right. In the distance I can see the lights on the train slowly winding its way towards us. At this point, dawn is just breaking. Somehow it's only been one night, even though it feels like it's been several weeks. Alright, for whatever reason that train is moving pretty fucking slow. We should just be able to hop it. The train wails in the distance again, much closer now. Thought I was going to have to drive alongside it with you all in the truck bed, honestly. The train does seem to be moving pretty slow. As it gets closer, I realise it's not exactly going to be a jog to run alongside it. I might be able to catch it at a full sprint. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'll get on first along with Kudzu, and we're going to pull the rest of you on, alright? Carl fidgets nervously. I don't know if I can run that fast. You will, now. I feel a paw land on my shoulder and turn me around. It's Leo. Hey. Hey, what is it? I look back at Flynn, wanting to hear what he's saying. Listen to me. Everything you said at the house, did you mean it? Huh? What did I say? Leo looks impatient. What you said about loving me, wanting to be with me forever. You meant that, right? What? The train is approaching. We have maybe a minute. What the fuck? Why are you acting like you don't fucking remember? Leo bristles, teeth bared, eyes narrowing. Oh my god, Leo, let's get out of here first. I start to back away toward the others as they continue to discuss jumping on the train. No! Leo grabs my shoulder, looking me right in the eye. He makes an effort to calm down, closing his eyes a moment before opening them. And tell me now, are you going to stay with me when all this is all over? We can talk about this when we get on the train. No, I want to know before. I see Kudzu looking at us and it looks like he's about to head over. Just tell the truth. That's all I want. Leo's eyes bore into mine as I look back at him. Now isn't the time for this. In fact, it's the absolute worst time for something like this. But looking at him, I can tell this is the only time for Leo. No, Leo. Leo's eyes widen and he leans his head back just slightly, at the same time taking a step back. It's like I physically pushed him. After everything that's happened, I just can't. Leo seems frozen, watching me, his arms hanging loosely at his sides. I hear the crunch of gravel next to me and Kudzu's by my side. Come on, we go in now. Leo's hand moves then, to his waistband. I have a moment to see him lift a gun from under his shirt, his eyes on Kudzu. My body moves automatically, stepping in front of the raccoon and raising my hands up to my chest defensively. Leo's already frozen his motion though, gun in front of his stomach still pointed down at the ground as he stares past me. What the fuck? I feel Kudzu grab my arm from behind, his grip so tight that it's painful. I keep my eyes on Leo, waiting to watch and see what direction the gun might go in. But then it drops. First his arm, which hangs loosely by his side once more, then the gun which clatters the gravel below. I flinch, expecting it to go off. It doesn't, and instead my ears are filled with the sound of the arriving train. Leo's eyes are back on mine, and I watch as tears start to spill out.
Come on, Leo, we have to get out of here.
Kudzu pulls me back and I turn away from Leo in the town of Echo as I rejoin the rest of the group. Run! Flynn shoves Carl forward and the ram takes off alongside the rails, looking over his shoulder at the train. The next thing I know, we're all running after Carl as the train catches up. I look back. Flynn waves both arms at the locomotive as it whizzes past. If there's a reaction from the driver, I don't see it. I have just enough time to read the letters on the side of the engine, Prescott Railway, before it's moving past me down the tracks. I realise then that the train is quite short, maybe only 5 cars or more. We won't have many chances. Kudzu! Flynn points at the caboose and starts running beside it, next to 2 little steps that drop down at the very end from the platform. Gracefully, the lizard jumps, landing his feet on the steps as his hands scramble for some kind of purchase. He finds it and pulls himself in. The next second he's reaching out, holding onto a handle on the caboose as he grabs one of Kudzu's paws. With much more ease than Flynn had, Kudzu jumps up onto the steps and pulls himself onto the platform. I pass Carl at this point, Ram already losing steam. He calls after me in a hoarse, ragged voice.
Shit, I'm not gonna make...
Flynn grabs the ram as they pass and Carl hop-skips on the uneven gravel. For a horrifying moment I think he's going to fall. But Kudzu leans in and snatches him up as well, practically lifting Carl onto the platform. Jenna, who's right beside me, is next, reaching out a paw to Flynn. He grabs it and Jenna easily jumps on, over the 2 steps. I think it's my turn next, but TJ slows down abruptly and I move to the side to make room for him. Flynn grabs his arm and TJ hesitates several times before Kudzu gets a grip on him as well. He's able to step up onto the first step. It's then that I realise that the train is picking up speed and I'm starting to slow down. I move up beside the caboose, seeing Flynn's outstretched hand. Now that I'm next to it, I can see how terrifying this is. The wheels clack loudly in my ears and I have no idea how I'm going to lift one leg up while keeping up this speed. I get a grasp on Flynn's hand and I see Kudzu's paw reaching out as well. The train's going way too fast now. I know I'll only have one chance at this. I pull down on their hands and lift my feet up to land on the last step. Once my feet make contact, relief floods through me. I can't help myself as I grin and pull myself up the steps. I don't know if we're safe or if this whole plan is going to work, but we carried it out somehow and that feels good for once. Then I remember Leo and look back, expecting to see him running next to the train. Instead, all I see is the brush and gravel rushing past. I look back toward the town. I think I can make out a small figure in the distance, exactly where I'd left him. Where the hell is Leo? I stay silent, but Flynn follows my gaze out toward the desert. Shit. At that moment, I'm not sure what I should feel. Probably relief. What I do feel is an incredible wave of sadness, like a physical wave smashing into my body. Probably the same thing Leo felt when I told him. Some part of me knows that this shouldn't matter right now. All that matters is that we might have just escaped with our lives. But leaving Leo behind? Someone I'd known most of my life? Someone who protected me, been a friend to me, guided me through the worst parts of my life? Someone who'd always emphasised togetherness and family, who'd always vowed to protect and stand by my side? That very same person had just chosen to stay behind. While we're the ones leaving, he's the one that decided to leave us. And as that solitary figure grows smaller and smaller, that idea hurts more than anything else right now. After seeing Janice get murdered, after being tortured by Brian, after nearly being murdered in a mine, this separation from my best friend is the knife being twisted into my chest. I sink to my knees, holding onto the railing, wondering if I should have stayed behind. Because the Leo I'd just been with isn't the Leo I really know. He needed help, and I just abandoned him. I should have stayed behind. Hot tears spill over my cheeks as I stare at the metal platform. Fuck you. We say the words under my breath, There's more rage behind them than anything I've ever said in my life. And they're meant for echo. Fuck you for killing Janice.
Fuck you for hurting William.
Fuck you for killing Duke.
Fuck you for hurting Clifford.
Fuck you for what's buried in the mines.
Fuck you for hurting Nikolai.
Fuck you for twisting my friends into something they're not.
Fuck you for hurting Cynthia.
And fuck you for
ruining my life.
I sit there on my knees, sobbing hard, like I'm crying for two people at once. I can't see Leo anymore, but the thought of him alone and probably hurting like me is too much. I don't know how long I cry for, but it feels like a long time. After a while, I feel a paw on my shoulder. I imagine the rest of my friends standing there staring at me. When I turn my head, it's only Kudzu. The raccoon is crouched next to me, his head turned towards me, a look that can only be described as understanding on his face. In a bit of a daze, I rub my face on my shoulder to clear my vision. Sorry. Don't be. Kudzu says it automatically as he rubs my shoulder gently. Do you want to get up? The rest of them went inside. I stay crouched there a moment, watching the blur of train tracks in front of me as we continue through the desert. Give me a sec. My nose is all stuffy, so my voice comes out clogged. The tiny lights of echo on the endless expanse of desert get smaller and smaller, and so too does the feeling of tension in my chest. With the tension goes the sad, angry presence in my head. He goes quiet again. It makes me feel a bit better, but each time I think about Leo, that knife gets a little deeper. Kudzu nods and squeezes my shoulder. After a few moments of silence, he speaks. You know that someone I lost a few years ago? I wipe my eyes again and nod. He was my boyfriend. I keep silence. I stare at the tracks, almost hypnotized. That strange feeling of wanting to jump tickles at the back of my brain, then fades slowly. One night we were walking along like we usually did. We got mugged. We should have just given him everything. My boyfriend, of course, stepped forward, confronted the guy, and got shot. I glanced back at the raccoon with no idea of what to say. Kudzu shakes his head like he's coming out of a dream. I'm just saying that I'm here. I might know what this feels like, you know? I cough a little to clear my throat. I mean, he didn't die. Kudzu shrugs. Breaking up can feel like that sometimes. It's a lot more than that. It was all of that. I wave in the direction of the town. It just feels like I lost him right when we got away. We're going to get people to go back for him. Yeah. I let out a big breath before slowly standing up, my knees popping as I do. Kudzu stands with me as I lean against the railing, choosing not to look out at the town. After a moment I turn around to face Kudzu. And then I'm hugging him. There's no hesitation this time as he hugs back. I let myself lean into him, let him support me, feeling the fur on his neck poke through mine. We stay like that a good 5 minutes, vibrating along with the train. Finally, I pull back. Alright, we should probably go in. I don't think it's all that safe out here anyway. Without letting go of me, Kudzu opens the door and guides me inside. My friends are all sitting in little seats in the dark, swaying along with the train's movements. Carl sits closest to us and he looks up at the sound of the door. Hey Chase, you okay? I laugh. No. Carl smiles sadly. Yeah, sorry. You're fine, man. I see Jenna and TJ together on a seat further along the wall, and Flynn sits opposite them. Further still, a small shape sits leaning against the opposite end of the caboose, curled up on his seat. It's Clint. Flynn occasionally glances at him. The polecat doesn't seem interested in coming closer to us. Kudzu guides me to sit next to Carl, and I make room so that the raccoon can sit next to me. So, where do you think we're going? I feel Carl twitching against me as he sits there hunched over. Well, anywhere's better, as long as it's not hell, I guess. Kudzu's arm goes around my shoulders automatically. We sit in silence for what feels like a long, long time. I don't mind it. I wouldn't mind if this were the rest of my life, honestly. For the first time in several days, I feel calm and safe. Soon enough, though, the darkness of the caboose is illuminated with occasional flashes of light. Flynn looks out the window. Peyton. With a grating screech, the train starts slowing down. I'm a little surprised. I guess I thought the train wasn't even real and it would just go on forever. But now it comes to a slow, stuttering stop. We all sit in the dark, quiet, listening. And then Flynn stands up and opens the door. Soft orange light spills inside. What the hell? Out of the doorway I see rows of train tracks occupied with other boxcars. Someone moves into view. It's an older looking fox in overalls. He stares up at us like we're aliens. Where the hell did you come from? A moment of silence goes by before Flynn clears his throat. We're from Echo. Yeah, Mom, I promise I'll call you in an hour. No, I'm not. No, we're not staying the night. I promise. Wow, Mom. All right, I swear. I love you too. Bye. I hang up and drop my paw into my lap, sighing loudly. Kudzu laughs. Everything okay? I rub my eyes. Yeah, I guess. She's just worried, obviously. Kudzu reaches over and sets his paw on my knee, squeezing briefly before returning it to the steering wheel. I can still turn back, you know. I take in another breath and hold it. It's tempting. Might even be a better idea to just let the past die. But now that I'm leaving the area for good, I want to see it one more time. Town and Leo. I let the breath out. No, I need to do this. I thought about it for so damn long there's no way I'd forgive myself for backing out now. I need closure. Alright. But if he gets weird at all, I'm taking you the hell out of there. He won't. He's back to normal. As much as any of us can be anyway. I told him it's only going to be for a little bit, that we're just driving through. I look over at him. You want to stay in the car? I was planning to, unless you're planning on going inside. No, I'll stay outside. Alright, I'll be watching in case you two try anything. Yeah, right. It's been 2 years. That's not very long. Hey, I know Leo. He's not the person we last saw. Yeah, I know. I feel my stomach tighten as I suddenly realise we're driving past the lake then onto Main Street. It's completely abandoned. Then we passed a motel. The windows are all boarded up and the parking lot is filled with more cracks than I remember. I'm hit with a wave of familiarity all the same. Standing in the parking lot are 2 people. Pointing at the motel is a large black bear. In front of him stands a canine of some kind with a video camera. Kudzu snorts but doesn't say anything. At first I feel a spark of anger at them for probably seeing the whole thing as a morbidly fun adventure. Not even having the slightest idea of what sort of hell the town went through. Then I remember I'd done the same thing. Granted, it was many more years removed, but still the same. We turn onto Leo Street and my stomach tightens further. Kudzu glances at me. Can I get a kiss before you talk to your ex? Eyes on the road. Kudzu leans over very deliberately, keeping his eyes on the road as he tries to turn his face toward me. I give him a quick peck on the side of his muzzle and he laughs. I try to laugh as well, but it gets caught in my throat as I see that old house. And there, waiting in the driveway, is Leo. Hey, how's it going? Leo cheerfully greets me as I open my door. It catches me off guard a little bit, his mood being so different from mine. Hey Leo, what's up? Leo has his paws shoved in his pockets but still manages to shrug. Not much. You? Not much. Leo ducks his head and looks in at Kudzu. Hey Kud, you alright? Kudzu awkwardly answers from behind me. Yeah, I'm okay. There's a moment of silence as I try to think of what to say or do. I hadn't expected Leo to just meet me outside. Did you want to come in for a beer or something? Oh, I'm actually driving the next couple of hours. Yeah, we were just stopping by for a minute. Ah, okay. Leo's smile falters a little bit, then he shrugs again. Want to go for a walk then? Stretch your legs? I look back at Kudzu, but he doesn't say anything. Doesn't give me a hint as to what he's thinking. He's leaving the decision up to me. Yeah, sure. Leo ducks his head again. You want to come, Kud? Kudzu hesitates and shakes his head. Nah, you two go ahead. I prefer the AC. Alright, cool. Feeling just a little tension between the two of them, I quickly jump out and shut my door. I look over at the rail yard, which is in full view of the car, and point. Want to walk over there? Sure. So, you've just been hanging out here for the past 2 years? A little bit. Spent a lot of time at my parents'. I'm moving back in with them right now, actually. Oh yeah? Yeah, it sucks. But honestly, I can't stand all the vultures scavenging around for stories here. Sounds like it. At least you'll be around other people, right? Yeah, it's officially a ghost town now, if you hadn't noticed. I look out over the rest of the town toward the motel and convenience store, and all of the tiny houses and trailers in between. Not a single person. I actually visited Carl once in a while over the summer. Leo nods up towards the mountains and see the big mansion glinting gently in the sunset. Hey, that's cool. I hear he's doing pretty good at school now. Good. Are you going back to school? Meh. I shrug my shoulders, walking up the train tracks that straddle the steel rails. Not in Pueblo, since we're moving up a couple of states, but probably eventually. There's a lull in the conversation as we both go quiet. I look around, wonder if this was the spot where we hopped the train. The train that turned out to be an old engine and caboose on its way to Peyton, where it was then transferred to a train museum. It had been travelling at a gentle 10 miles per hour to keep from derailing off the old tracks, just slow enough for us to catch. It was the last of 3 engines being transferred that night. Just a few hours later, the emergency services went in and recovered whoever else was left in the town, including Leo. I still wonder if we'd even needed to hop the train, or I guess I was escaping more than just the town. I look back at Leo. Are you okay? Leo looks up from kicking around some rocks. I scratch my head vigorously, trying to think of how not to say the wrong thing. Have you been doing okay? Are you happy? Leo smiles. Not really. Are you? I think back to the past 2 years of nightmares and panic attacks and breaking down into tears out of nowhere. How just a few hours ago I dropped to the ground in a grocery store in Peyton because someone dropped a jar of jam. But Kudzu had been there, like always, to help me back up. I'm managing. I can't cope with this. It's a process. That's good. Are you managing? Leo chuckles. I'm just living. Are you getting help? Like professional help? Yeah. No. Oh, well, it can really help. I like to do things on my own these days. Leo looks back toward the car, Kudzu barely visible through the windows. People can help. You don't have to do everything on your own. I think it's best if I stay away from people for now. I noticed the anchor bracelet missing from Leo's wrist. I looked down at the tracks. Listen, I'm sorry about everything that happened. I wish I could do things over, even before what happened here in Echo. Leo looked at me for a moment, a sad smile on his face. The last 2 years have been hell for me. I cried myself to sleep every night thinking about you. I feel my face flush with embarrassment and for some reason shame. But last month, the first time, it stopped. I stopped thinking about you every hour. I stopped thinking about what you might be doing, about how you might be treating you, about whether or not you're thinking of me. Yeah, I still think about you sometimes, and when I do, I still cry. But now it hurts less. So yeah, I am doing better, Chase. Oh, well, that's good. I've no right to feel a little sad, but I do. I'm sorry, Chase, for not protecting you the way I should have, for trying to control you and do all that shady shit behind your back. Whatever the fuck was in this town that made us all go crazy, I realise it twisted up my thinking. Those thoughts were always there. Echo just brought it up to the surface. So I'm a shitty person, and you made me realise that. I'm sorry I brought you into it. Just know, I really did love you. Leo looks over my shoulder at the car again. Anyway, you should get back to Cut. He'll take care of you, and I hope you take care of him, okay? My mouth hangs open a little bit. That snaps me back to reality. Yeah, I'll do that. I start walking back to the car, but Leo doesn't follow me. I pause. Do you want my new number? We can talk. No. The surprised look on my face makes Leo laugh. It's a real laugh, kind of sad, happy, but real. That wouldn't be good for either of us. So we're just saying goodbye forever? That old knife in my heart starts twisting again. Leo shrugs. You never know. I stand there, 10 feet away from my first boyfriend, my first kiss in this very rail yard. My best friend. But hey, if you drive through Peyton again, I'm always open to have another chat. Maybe when you catch me in a better place. I will. I say it immediately and Leo smiles at me. So I'll see you again someday. I look forward to it. Alright, bye then. Goodbye, Chase. I walk the rest of the distance to the car and open the passenger door before getting in and sitting down. With the door still open, I look back one last time. Leo stands there, paws still jammed in his pockets, his fur outlined with our orange and gold light from the setting sun, highlighting his head fur like a halo. I take it in for a moment, then wave. He waves back. And with that, I close the door.